yesterday, Zach Jackson of The Athletic went on the radio and mentioned he had heard from multiple people at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis that Shedeur Sanders was closer to a second-round pick than he was to being the number 2 pick, which one person's opinion, he's reporting what he heard, so be it. But then Lance Zierlein of NFL.com.
Well, actually, he heard it from more than one person, so it's more than one person.
That's what I'm saying. He put it out there.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen much else of it. Take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Then Lance Zierlein came out with his mock draft 2.0 this morning, and it was pretty interesting. He had the Browns taking Travis Hunter at number 2, and then trading back into the end of the first round to take Shedeur Sanders at 29. Now, he's a guy that's been rumored to the Browns at 2 throughout the early stages of the mock drafts, but here he has the Browns trading back up to take Shedeur at 29.
That whole mock draft is ludicrous.
Here were his explanations on the 2 Browns picks real quick. When it came to Travis Hunter, Lance Zierlein said Hunter can come in and start right away at receiver or cornerback. He'd have a big impact at either position for the Browns. And then on the Shedeur Sanders trade, Lance Zierlein of NFL.com said Sanders' slide is over as the Browns slipped their number 33 overall pick, an additional selection to the Commanders in order to take a swing at the QB of the future. So you see that. You go, okay, Zach said that. Lance did this in his mock draft. And then Todd McShay, who covers the NFL draft, had this to say on his podcast about Shedeur at the Combine. So let's listen. It's about 2.5 minutes, but I wanted to give everyone the full context of Todd McShay's comments.
The 2 people that I spoke to were in meetings and had these individual meetings that I just laid out to you, what they are, who's in there, and why they're important. Teams in the top 10 drafting that need a quarterback. The 2 people that I spoke to in these positions left the meeting feeling like Shedeur Sanders was not overly concerned with what they thought of him. They had a 15-minute meeting with them, and when they were done, they both said in different ways, different words, that they did not feel like Shedeur Sanders cared all that much about what that organization thought of him. Fascinating, right?
Right. And that's not said in any kind of a positive light, correctly. It wasn't like they came in there and he knew who he was and he wasn't concerned about impressing us. It's more of a negative tone, the way you're saying that, right? You're saying it in a way that he did not come in with, ready to impress, ready to show us what kind of a young man he is, what kind of a leader he can be, all of the positive things. That's what you're saying, correct?
This was not okay. I'll make a joke in a second, but I do. All right, so let's go through this in the right order. A couple of the quotes that I put in there. One said that it wasn't a professional approach. One person that I talked to said the best way I can describe it is it just wasn't it wasn't a professional approach. Shedeur Sanders did not take a professional approach to this interview. The other person I talked to said he wasn't taking it seriously at all. I didn't get the sense that he was taking it seriously. So when you hear it wasn't a professional approach and you hear he wasn't taking it all that seriously, that's not the interview that you're looking, it's not the response you're looking for from a potential suitor, from somewhere you plan to go play. Now, I think it's also important because I'm sure people pull clips and have all sorts of things to say. It's very important, and hear me when I say this. There was no bad behavior. There was nothing disrespectful said or done. There was no kind of altercation. And it wasn't like Good Will Hunting when Ben Affleck went in for Matt Damon and put his feet up on the desk and yelled, "Retainer! Retainer!" Like, it wasn't that. So I'm not trying to overblow this to try to get clicks and people get, this is not a viral moment. I don't care about the attention this gets. It's just our job to relay the information and the intel that we're getting from people that are important and make decisions or part of the decision process from the teams that are looking to draft a quarterback and have a high draft pick.
All right, Bulls, so you heard what Zach said. We've seen the latest mock from Lance Zierlein. You hear what Todd McShay says. Are you buying the possibility of Shedeur Sanders slipping to the back end of the first round, maybe out of the first round, or is this simply March 4th Combine smoke?
Yeah, I mean, of course it's possible that he could drop out of there. Disregarding everything Todd McShay said, I don't care about what 2 guys in front offices because they didn't mesh with him. just because they said he wasn't professional doesn't mean he wasn't professional.
Right.
I could ask everybody in this room privately, what's professional to you? And we might all describe it differently. A 60-year-old curmudgeonly coach and a 21-year-old or however old Shedeur Sanders is, football player, is going to look at professional in a different way. So I disregard that. Lance Zierlein's mock draft, I mean, he's just a random dude doing a mock draft. I don't care. He's wrong. Cam Ward's going first in this draft. We all know Cam Ward's going first in this draft. So anybody that has a mock draft that doesn't have Cam Ward first is being silly. I don't know if it's going to be the Titans or somebody else taking him, but Cam Ward's going first in this draft. Now, Zach is not a guy who just throws nonsense out there. So, yeah, I mean, the fact, I believe that there were guys that told him that they don't think Shedeur Sanders is a first-round pick. But here's the thing, guys. Ultimately, there's going to be, while it's possible he could drop, we've seen quarterbacks drop before, ultimately it doesn't matter if 25, 28, or even 31 teams think he's not worth a first-round pick. All it takes is one, and I'm sure there will be. So I still think he's going to be a top 10 pick in this draft. But if anything's possible, I wouldn't completely rule it out.
It's weird to me that people would, like Todd would say that it's some group of, it was two teams that said it wasn't professional. You know who his dad is? His dad was the first person to come to the draft with not a suit on, with jewelry out and all those things. It's just something that you've never seen before. So therefore, he's got that same type of energy in him. Of course, he's gonna act like that. At the end of the day, I will continue to say, at the end of the day, press play. That's all. Just press play.
Here, so
look at the tape.
Let me come in on the tail end of that, because one thing is, I find it almost humorous that McShay's out here like that, right? Mm-hmm. So you can trace back to Shedeur Sanders' lineage. You trace back to his time in college. You ain't seen no mess coming out of Shedeur Sanders?
Nope.
At all. Nothing. Been nothing more than a leader. Go talk to people in Colorado. Go talk to people in Jackson State. They've been nothing more than a leader. Second thing is, he not begging. He not coming from a begging background, right?
That's right.
He not coming from that. He has seen the light. He's been there, right? So you're not moving him with this thing. And I tell you, any team that passes on him and he goes somewhere and light it up, they're all getting fired, right? Because he's right there for the taking. Don't get enamored. I mean, don't get blinded because you got some bias against his daddy, right? Because that's what this is, right? That's exactly what this is, right? Because if you go back and just say, check his lineage and his timing, where he's been, you don't see any mess out of him, right? And don't go for the watch setup and the chains. Don't matter.
Legendary.
Right?
Yeah.
Because every time I've seen this kid play, he been balling. He has been. Now, does he need a little work and some refinement and some things? Yeah, but who doesn't at 22, right?
Man.
So I'm telling you, if you in the need for a quarterback and you find a way to talk yourself out of it, right? Go right ahead, right? Because didn't Portland talk themselves out of Michael Jordan win with Bowie?
Yeah.
They talked themselves out of it, right? He was sitting right there.
Sam Bowie.
He was sitting right there. Nothing against Sam. He was sitting right there.
Yeah.
See, sometimes people want you to shuck and jive a little bit. They want you to come in, I'm a humble dude, I ain't never had nothing. So you can't do that with him. He already rich.
No, they said he wasn't disrespectful or nothing like that.
Sometimes they say, he had jewelry on when he was at the, when you shining, he had the tube joint. His joints was crazy, he was shining. His hat was a little to the side. See, sometimes you got to realize, y'all, everybody be asking, you want fathers, we want strong fathers, we want people to be at people. He got one. His dad played 2 sports at the highest level. He's the greatest corner, one of the top 5 football players of all time. And if you've done anything and go watch Coach Prime in the Colorado Buffaloes, let's talk about how the fact he runs his program, very strict. They go to class, very strict. He told them, I just watched it the other day.
You saw his GPA.
Yeah, he said if I catch you with if there's any allegations with you with any females, women, you're gone. I want the earrings that got to come out. If you see the earrings, you're in the next thing smoking up out here. The problem is sometimes they want to put Shedeur Sanders in this shiny box where they want to be like he's a diva, but his personality and his play on the field is completely different from what the narrative is. He's a guy that would probably fit better under Coach Stefanski than any other guys. He's been accurate. He went from HBCU to play there. Now, look, I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but if you sitting here telling me 2 anonymous sources of 2 teams because they didn't think he took it seriously, if you wouldn't base it on that, sure. But I also remember, you can go look at my blog, I also remember that Todd McShay said that Jalen Hurts wasn't going to lead not no team to a championship, let alone the Eagles. He'd been in 2. They also said Lamar Jackson was a 3rd-round pick. You can go back and watch it. It's
Said
up
he was
there.
a wide receiver.
That wasn't McShay.
But McShay said 3rd-round pick. I've had multiple. We love PFF. I love the guys, but they told you Josh Allen's ceiling was a poor man's Baker Mayfield. But yet and still, when they come up with these comparisons, we heard the same thing about Kyler Murray. People made it, hey, C.J. Stroud.
Go Bucks.
Didn't kiss the Manning's ring.
Well, you just said it. When you say, because I have to pull myself back. When you say he didn't take it serious, is that the side shade for like, you ain't come here and act like I thought you were supposed to act?
Right.
You ain't do that.
Right.
You're like, nah, we not doing that.
That's exactly what he said.
And that's not mean I'm being disrespectful, but I'm not going to be who you think I am. I'm going to just be me. Right? And I said, if you feel that's a reason to keep me off your roster, then keep me off your roster. But I'm going to tell you what, I got a saying here. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He's coming from a good tree.
I mean,
That's what I don't understand. If Todd McShay is going to report this, what is it that he did? Like, he said he wasn't being disrespectful. So what is it that he did specifically that made these people think he wasn't interested?
He probably referred to himself in the 3rd person like he do a lot. 2 ain't doing that. 2 thought on this play that 2 was supposed to do this, so 2 did it. Like, he probably, he do that.
Hold on.
He do that.
Here's the problem with it. The NFL has gotten away with this forever. You leak things to move up the board, to move guys down the board, to see if you can get a guy. If you like Shedeur Sanders, you leak the fact that you don't like Shedeur Sanders. The problem with saying an anonymous source based on something that is vague, it does exactly what we just did. It gets your imagination moving. Well, what did he say? Did he curse? Did he say something? Did he say that he wasn't willing to learn certain things? How did he come off? Was it a tone thing? And then they put water on it to be like, it wasn't anything bad. Now you sitting there and saying like,
well, what is it?
Right. And all it takes sometimes is that questioning, because the human mind always goes to the worst thing possible. Why would 2 people say that if it was just 1? But if anytime it's more than 1, it just must be true then.
Yeah.
No.
And everybody comes from different backgrounds.
I don't understand why this is like. First of all, I don't care about that, but like, again, it goes back to his dad told the team, "When are you picking? I'm picking 8th. Well, I ain't gonna be there, so it's no need for us to even talk."
Right.
Like, he probably feel the same way. When you picking? They got me going 2nd. I'm going. I ain't gonna be there.
If I'm interviewing with the New England Patriots at 4, I ain't paying attention. If I'm interviewing with the Jacksonville Jaguars at 5, not paying attention. I'm gonna wake up when the Raiders is on the clock at 6, but when the Carolina Panthers come back on the clock at 8, I don't want no parts of what y'all talking about. And the Saints might be off the list too. Why would I be in here talking about? I see myself in your offense. No, I don't. You know that.
You know what the thing is, though? He did a press conference with the media during the Combine, and I thought he came off very well in that. I actually didn't think and even if he came off as cocky, which I didn't think he did, but who cares? To be a professional athlete, to be great at a sport, you have to be cocky. You can't.
Well, he's not even here. It's not even cocky because people confuse it sometimes.
Yeah.
Every time he comes off as very confident in what he is, right?
But I'm saying I don't care either way, even if he is cocky.
But
that's
people
part of the
coming
game.
in, people come in here, they're looking for you to be what they think you should be, and he's not. He's like, I'm gonna be who I am. I'm not, because you can't show me any, because the spotlight has been on him since he's been at Colorado, right? You don't find any dirt coming up in here, right? No misstep here, right?
But the thing is that's.
I'm gonna ask y'all this question because we talked about it. I think a lot of what comes with that is when NIL came in, right? I you know all too well when I don't think people like the fact that when you've already gotten 3 million, 4 million, 5, whatever the case may be, and you sitting in front of them? Before it was, this is the biggest interview of your life. This is generational wealth.
Yeah.
This is gonna take you and your family to places you ain't never been. You better button up, be in here, and do you think that they kind of look at it like, well, I resent it a little bit that you feel
100%.
like you already done made it because you got money in the bank and you don't gotta play that.
He
role.
had it before the NIL.
I say,
Right.
he always had.
If a guy's a 55-year-old quarterback coach, he might have made less money than Shedeur has made in his college career, and he's bitter about that. There's no doubt that that's a factor. And I think guys are taking their biases and for whatever and putting them in the way.
It's a new day.
You think when you see somebody for 10, 15 minutes, you now you know me. You don't know nothing, right? You don't know anything, right? So what I really do like about professional sports is the teams that are successful, they dig in the weeds. They're gonna find all your They're gonna find all your history.
They're gonna go talk to your high school coach, your high school girlfriend.
Say, those are the ones that are doing the homework. The other dude is doing the 15-minute interview. I mean, I remember coming out of college, like, you had them little interviews, right? Man, okay. But you had to sit up here and do the dance.
Yeah.
You had to do the dance because you had no money, right? These kids already coming out here with money.
Yeah.
Do you believe that money changed the dynamic when you go, especially for the top-notch players?
Oh, no question.
That probably depends
No,
on the
I don't think so because
but also, Tyvis, before you answer though, it's another level too because not only the money, but he's also Deion Sanders' kid. He grew up. Most of the kids playing college sports didn't grow up with money. He did, and so he was already going to be a little different than the other kids anyway.
Well, the other thing, factor this in.
Yeah.
His father has laid down the ground law. He knows how it works.
Yeah.
Right. So you think Shedeur don't know how it works?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So he got an opinion when he walk up here. So when you go in there and do the dance, Deion already told him what the dance is. Like, man, we're not paying attention to that because that dude over there can't make no decisions. Right?
Right, that is kind of
that dude in there ain't making no decisions.
He's like, that is kind of crazy because he's like, all right, Shedeur, who you going to meet with today? I'm meeting for with the Jaguars.
I remember with Sammy Smith. Who was Sammy Smith? Man, go on out here.
Well, Brad, I mean, your daughter is going to be probably more prepared to, meet with teams than some of these other girls who did not have a professional athlete as their parent. It's just that's it. That's just it. If you have some certain level of experience because of your family, it's going to factor in.
I told you before the show.
Yeah.
That's how she ended up in Maryland because I knew the dance. And I was like, anybody that wasn't singing the right from the hymnal,
that's right.
I cut them off.
Yeah.
I cut my own blood off because they still mad at me in Columbus.
Nope, that ain't what I wanted to hear.
That ain't what I'm trying to hear.
Said you gonna do what? No. We go. Come on. We go.
Because once you have been there and seen it and understand how it works, then what happens is you have an institutional knowledge.
Yeah.
It was my job as a father, like Deion, to pass that on to my child.
That's right.
Like, here's how this works. And because they say, no, Dad, no.
Yeah.
That's not it.
That is.
This is how it is, right? And this is what we're going to do, right? And I know this thing. Deion know you're going to get drafted here. There's no way that Deion does not know where he's going to get drafted. Right. So I don't care what Sports Illustrated said, this said, you in here somewhere. And probably one of these, because he's got enough connections.
Yeah.
That people will shoot him straight.
To know they're going to give it to him straight, right? So he got an idea. His job now is, and as you talk about me and Cheyenne, I have to keep the train on the rails. You ain't getting sidetracked over here. Get back on the rails. We're going to stay on the rails here because the rails going to lead us in, right? But I heard this. I don't care what you heard. That don't make no sense, right? Because I tell you, for Cheyenne, and Brenda Freese and I, the coach of Maryland, are close, right? We got a good relationship. When things in her junior year, after we had what they call a down year in Maryland, even though they went to the NCAA tournament, you think we wasn't getting calls about departing Maryland to go somewhere else? And the first thing I said, well, I'm going to stop you here. We're in the right place, right? I'm going to keep it 100. Now, you still got to do your part, but we're in the right place here. And so when we had that end of the season meeting, I went in there, I said, Coach, Cheyenne, her mom and I, we went to the meeting. I said, let me start the meeting. We're going nowhere. Put that on the table. Because my child it's depending on me to cut down the trees in the forest so she can come to the pathway.
Right.
I said, ye get behind me. We going this way, right? And I said, you have to trust what I know what I'm talking about here, right? Now you still got to do the work, but any of the nonsense. So when you throw that little stuff out there, we've seen it all. People shading people and trying to set it up, right? Well, if you got some dirt, say what the dirt is.
Yeah, let it be known.
Because now you're doing me a disservice here. Because
or whoever your source is, put a name on it. If it's really what you say it is, you should be comfortable to say, all right, I said that.
And I'm with Bull here. You know, the great part about the Cleveland Browns is they don't have no leeway to be talking about no foolishness anyway. We cut right to the factor. The factor is you was 3 and something last year. You have no room to be talking about, I don't like how he was sitting there. No, y'all gonna find a quarterback and y'all gonna get to it. That's the only thing we talking about. Yeah. The only debate for the Browns is what you doing at 33. I'll take some.
I don't agree. I think the debate for the Browns is she should be trading up to 1 for Cam Ward.
I ain't got no problem with that neither. No. I don't have no problem with that. If they like Cam Ward,
if they're convinced Cam Ward is the guy,
none.
Well, Jason said it only would take like a 4th or 5th.
Well,
no-brainer.
There it is.
No-brainer.
I got that today.
That's if there's not a bidding war. But it sounds like whoever's going to try getting up to 1, there are a couple teams at least vying in that number.
Even if I have to give him a 3rd-round pick, if I'm convinced he's the guy, I'm doing it.
To get to number 1 now, we only got to give him a 3rd-round pick. Stop playing with me.
Yeah, right.
Stop playing
with
me.
They got 2 3rd-round picks.
Yeah, exactly.
No. You want the number 1 pick.
You want all that.
You gonna pay
and then you telling the Titans.
You gonna give me something.
Then you telling the Titans.
You're only dropping one
You moving
spot.
one spot down.
But if you feel this person is your guy,
then you do whatever it takes.
Then
That's it.
It's my job on the other side to extract as much as I can out of it.
That's true. We'll see how it goes.
I do think as we get closer, I do think that.
You gonna give me Myles Garrett to go number 1?
No.
No.
That's what you saying.
That's what they're asking.
As they get closer,
as they should.
As this draft gets closer, I do think the Titans gonna trade out of 1. I do think that.
When Jason said it would take a 4th-round pick, by the way, he was going off the Jimmy Johnson draft chart in terms of the value. The 4th-round pick was the
more
value.
than that.
I think it'd be not necessarily like another first by any means, but it'd be more than a 4th-round pick to get
Definitely.
2 to 1.